Hello YouTube. If you're watching this video, you already know what these are here. These are the Ammend 2 30 round magazines that have just come out recently to compete against brands like Magpul and Hexmag and so on and so forth. So they're relatively inexpensive in comparison to the other brands that I mentioned, so that leads to a potential great value as long as they work right. Well, I decided to take a chance and jump right in it full tilt, and Brownells was having a sale, and I bought 20 of them because by buying that many, I was able to get them for $5.80 a magazine shipped to me. So I was hoping for the best. I had never tried them before, but I did find out that for me, the magazines would not drop free in any of my lowers. So, and I realize there's different tolerances based on the different manufacturers, but apparently I didn't have the right manufacturers. So I needed to do something to get these things to drop free. That's a big issue for me. So I found a way to modify them to get them to all drop free. And I want to share that with you. So I'm going to put this magazine here. This is actually one I've already done, but I've taken the liberty to kind of paint up this one here. This is already done as well. I didn't think to make a video on this until after the fact. So I should have saved one in retrospect to actually do it on camera. But I did highlight the areas that you need to pay attention to. The white areas here are the ones that I found through trial and error are the biggest culprits here. So you have this raised area here, which just needs to be shaved down, and I'll show you the technique I used here in a moment. And then these areas here were key. With these 2 points here probably being the most crucial to getting a proper drop free and proper fit. The idea here is to just take off just enough material to where they drop free without removing too much and potentially weakening the feed lips. So, like I said, I had 20 magazines to practice on, so by the third or fourth one, I was kind of getting a hang of it. So these areas here that are painted in white, just use a sharp tool. I used a utility knife, and there's two areas here and here that also sometimes leave material behind. I guess through the injection molding process, a lot of the little burrs and whatnot get left behind, and that hangs things up. Depending upon how bad this area here is on your magazine, you may actually have to go a little further down in the area that I highlighted and actually shave this whole area from this white mark here all the way up here. I've had to do that on a couple of the magazines, but for the majority of them, just these areas here and the highlighted areas and this area here were the key areas. Now these green areas here, I highlighted in a different color because you may or may not have to remove those. I guess it depends on how bad. Some of the magazines that I received had a much more pronounced raised kind of a spine there that stuck out there, that again leftover material from the injection molding process. And there's also one sometimes that occurs right here on the front of the magazine too, in this section here, so you may have to work on that as well. But basically my technique was this: using a utility knife here. This works better for me than say a file, because there are some curved edges and things here that I feel a utility blade can kind of ride along more flat and give me a little bit more even shavings. But basically all I did was, be careful, obviously you want to cut away from you, but just kind of do this thing at a pretty good angle here, almost flat to your work here, but just enough to kind of, again, I'm not trying to remove material here because this one, like I said, is already done. But you can use different amounts of pressure to get things going. But you want this to be flat, and you want to barely just remove, like I said, enough material to get it to work. So there's going to be a lot of trial and error where you're going to have to stop shaving and then just try it in your lower, and you'll see it start to kind of free up a little bit. to the point where they'll eventually drop free. But yeah, just kind of just shaving that off there. Obviously I'm doing it very light just to demonstrate here, but you know, I'm going around like this and just removing material as I can here, and then coming along this area here, this spine, and just kind of shaving that flat as possible. So that's basically it. That's how I got these to work. By the 14th, 15th one, I mean, I had this pretty much down to where I was knocking these things out. The first one took me about a good 10 to 15 minutes, and then after that I was probably averaging about 5 minutes a magazine. So all 20 are done, and just for demonstration purposes here, let's make sure this is a clear weapon. So now oops, of course, on camera, the first one demonstration didn't work, but this one might need to be worked on a little bit more. They drop free. So anyway, I hope this helps you, and take care.